Let me walk you through a compelling narrative, one that weaves politics, power, desperation, and the fragile hopes of people caught in the crossfire. Picture this: a war raging on in Gaza for nearly 2 years. Lives destroyed, families torn apart, cities leveled. And now, at what may be its turning point, a bold gamble: one man's peace plan, one militant group's tentative assent, and one superpower demanding silence in the skies. It all begins with a dramatic intervention. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, in a rare pivot from his usual posture, orders Israel to immediately stop bombing Gaza. The timing is striking. Hamas, after years of resistance and bloodshed, has signaled its willingness to accept elements of Trump's 20-point peace plan, namely, the release of Israeli hostages and the ceding of Gaza's administration to an independent technocratic body. But this is no clean, linear path. Hamas doesn't accept unconditionally. They agree to the release of hostages, to negotiation, but they stop short of committing to full disarmament or accepting foreign oversight of Gaza. The demand to disarm before Israel ends occupation is a red line. The idea of handing Gaza over to an international board of peace doesn't sit well either. Meanwhile, Israel responds with cautious steps. Political top brass instruct the military to scale back offensive operations in Gaza City, though bombardments continue elsewhere. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu publicly signals readiness to begin implementing Phase 1, hostage exchange and redeployment, but insists Israel will maintain control over strategic areas. This is the moment where the world pauses to watch. Global reactions pour in. European leaders Macron, von der Leyen, and Germany's Merz express cautious optimism. They urge immediate ceasefires, humanitarian access, and pressure on both sides to act. Turkey's Erdogan frames Hamas as signaling peace and implores Israel to halt attacks. India, Spain, Ireland, Jordan, Canada, South Africa, and Australia all voice support for de-escalation and the peace initiative. Yet for all the talk and diplomatic fanfare, bombs still fall. In the hours after Trump's call, at least 36 civilians, including children, are killed in Israeli airstrikes. Israel claims it targeted militants, not non-combatants. It reiterates it is reviewing civilian casualty reports. Gaza authorities decry it as proof that Israel cannot be trusted to cease fire. So where do we stand now? At a delicate crossroads. A peace plan exists. Hamas has given partial acceptance. Israel, under international pressure, has begun to step back. But words, plans, and political theater will not heal wounds or silence gunfire. Second, governance of Gaza. Trump's plan envisions handing Gaza over to technocrats, under oversight of a board of peace, possibly chaired by Tony Blair. This idea raises suspicion among Palestinians. A Western-managed Gaza is control without representation. Hamas's response signals they're willing to cede some control, but not at the cost of total autonomy. Third, trust and enforcement. Even if a ceasefire is declared, who ensures compliance? Who prevents spoilers? The plan calls for an Arab-led multinational peacekeeping force and strict oversight. But deploying neutral, effective forces in Gaza amid chaos, distrust, and ongoing hostilities is a Herculean task. Fourth, political will and internal pressures. Netanyahu faces pressure from hardliners to continue the war. Trump faces domestic and international scrutiny for advocating restraint. Hamas has internal divisions. Should it concede now, or hold out longer? Civilians, starving and displaced, demand immediate relief. The clock is ticking. And beyond the immediate, there's the question of long-term legitimacy. Even if a deal holds, can peace last? Will Israel's withdrawal respect Palestinian rights? Will Gaza be rebuilt without dependency? Will the West Bank be addressed? Will Palestinians see sovereignty or still feel controlled? Let's imagine a scenario. Hamas formally agrees to Trump's plan by the Sunday deadline. Israel halts all bombings, hostages are exchanged, and Israeli troops begin phased withdrawal. Peacekeeping forces arrive. Technocrats administer Gaza. For a moment, headlines will shout victory. Diplomats will claim consensus. Relief will enter. But then cracks will show. Radical factions may reject the deal. Groups conceal arms. Extremists exploit grievances. Peacekeepers grapple with chaos. Israel lingers in border zones under the guise of security. Reconstruction stalls. Palestinians watch with skepticism. A fragile truce becomes a tense freeze. Alternatively, Hamas might refuse outright, citing sovereignty and rejecting foreign oversight. Israel resumes strikes. Trump's plan is shelved. The war rages anew. The cost in lives and infrastructure deepens. The cycle continues. Which path is likelier? The truth is somewhere in between. Hamas isn't likely to accept all terms unilaterally, and Israel won't fully withdraw until security is assured. What's probable is a temporary ceasefire, partial implementation, ongoing negotiation, and renewed instability. Yet this moment is historic. For the first time in years, a major power publicly demands Israel stop bombing, not to protect its interests, but to save lives and free hostages. For the first time in years, Hamas offers conditional peace. Global leaders speak not only in condemnation, but with urgency toward resolution. To you, watching from afar, this isn't just a Gaza story. It's a mirror of our times. It shows how asymmetric warfare, diplomacy, public pressure, and media narratives collide. It underscores that battles are won not just by guns, but by legitimacy, trust, and control of the story. As we close, consider this. If peace fails, the outrage will be enormous, the cost immeasurable. If peace succeeds, even partly, history may point to this window as Gaza's moment of transition, not defeat. Keep your eyes on Cairo, where negotiations are set to resume. Watch the actions, not the statements. Follow the aid, the troops, the rhetoric from Jerusalem, Gaza, Doha, and Washington. Because the world is watching, and tomorrow's map of Middle East politics may hinge on what happens in these next few hours. At the same time, the White House and Pentagon were reportedly caught off guard by the event's scale and Trump's aggressive tone. Senior defense officials, while expressing respect for the Navy's anniversary, privately voiced discomfort over the politicization of the armed forces. They emphasized that the military's purpose was to defend the Constitution, not serve any political figure. Yet, some within the Navy saw Trump's involvement differently, as a long overdue spotlight on an institution often overshadowed by political narratives in Washington. One officer, speaking anonymously, told reporters that whatever people think about Trump, he understands how to make the Navy feel seen. This comment echoed the sentiment of many enlisted sailors who felt that the event rekindled a sense of pride in their mission and heritage. Civilian attendees, too, described the celebration as breathtaking, especially the aerial demonstrations and live tactical displays that showcased America's cutting-edge technology. The highlight, a coordinated maneuver by 3 destroyers forming a V formation symbolizing victory, was widely shared on social media, drawing awe even from international audiences. The U.S. Navy's official account later posted, 250 years strong. Always ready. Always free. The post went viral, blending seamlessly with the wave of patriotic emotion that Trump's speech had ignited. In the days that followed, the political reverberations of Trump's appearance continued to dominate headlines. Analysts described it as a defining moment that blurred the boundaries between celebration and campaign theater. Conservative commentators praised his boldness, arguing that Trump had reconnected America with its martial roots at a time of perceived weakness and global uncertainty. Liberal critics, however, warned that using military anniversaries for political grandstanding could undermine public trust in nonpartisan institutions. Meanwhile, Trump himself remained unapologetic, taking to his social media platform to post, "What we did at Norfolk was not politics, it was patriotism. America must be strong again." The post garnered millions of engagements within hours. Political observers now believe that the Navy's 250th anniversary will be remembered not just as a milestone in naval history but as a pivotal moment in Trump's evolving comeback narrative, one that merges spectacle, symbolism, and strategic messaging into a single, unforgettable display. Whether seen as a tribute or a provocation, the event once again proved Trump's unmatched ability to command attention, shape national discourse, and turn every public appearance into a defining headline.